Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins, all-world coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the world of one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin from the mid-20th century, but believe me, this seemingly ordinary penny holds a fascinating story, and its value today might surprise you. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, in circulation from 1909 to 1958, has captured the hearts of collectors for decades. But the 1951 version? Well, it stands out for more reasons than one. If you've ever held a 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny in your hands, you might not realize that you could be holding a small treasure. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we're going to reveal exactly what makes the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special and why it could be worth a small fortune. Let's step back in time. The year is 1951, and the United States is navigating post-war recovery and a rapidly changing world. The Cold War is heating up, the Korean War is in full swing, and the economy is shifting from wartime production to peacetime growth. But in the midst of all this, everyday life carries on for millions of Americans, with one thing that remains constant: pennies. The 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If you take a closer look at the coin, you'll notice a small mint mark beneath the date. An S indicates it came from San Francisco, D from Denver, and no mint mark at all means it was minted in Philadelphia. At first glance, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny looks just like any other. The obverse features the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the words, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1951, to the right. On the reverse side, you'll see the wheat ears flanking the words, 1 cent, representing agriculture and the strength of the American heartland. For years, these pennies circulated across the country, from cash registers to piggy banks, accumulating wear and tear over time. However, not all 1951 Lincoln Wheat Pennies are created equal. While most were minted in vast quantities and became common in everyday circulation, a select few have survived in exceptional condition. These pennies, untouched by time and showing little to no wear, are highly prized by collectors. But it's not just the condition that can make a 1951 penny valuable, it's also the potential for minting errors. Minting errors are the true wild cards in the world of coin collecting. Imagine a coin that's been struck off-center, or one that has a double die, where the details appear as if they've been stamped twice. These small mistakes weren't intentional, but they make certain coins incredibly rare, and therefore, incredibly valuable. For example, a 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a doubling error on the date or on "Liberty" can be a goldmine for collectors. If you happen to have a 1951 penny with any noticeable errors, whether it's a double die, a repunched mint mark, or some other variation that deviates from the standard strike, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars, even tens of thousands, depending on the rarity and condition. Another reason why the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny is of particular interest to collectors is that it was minted during a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning. The coin's design, the wheat ears on the reverse, would soon be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. So, 1951 marks one of the final years for the iconic wheat design, adding historical significance to its already valuable status. Now, you may be wondering, how much could a 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny really be worth? Well, it depends on several factors, including condition, minting errors, and demand. The standard 1951 penny, in circulated condition, might only fetch a few dollars, but as you move up the scale in quality, say, to an uncirculated or mint-state coin, the value increases significantly. In fact, a coin that's been well preserved, showing little wear, could easily fetch $20 or more. But here's the real kicker. If you're lucky enough to have one of the rarer 1951 pennies, whether it's in pristine condition or features a significant minting error, then you could be looking at a coin worth a lot more. And when we're talking about the absolute top tier of 1951 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, particularly those with rare minting errors, the value skyrockets. That brings us to the moment you've all been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny that's in exceptional, mint state condition, or even one that has a rare minting error, then your coin could be worth as much as $82,000. Yes, you heard that right, $82,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin worth just 1 cent in 1951 could be worth more than most people's cars or even a down payment on a house today. But that's the incredible world of coin collecting, a world where rarity, history, and condition come together to create truly valuable pieces of history. Today, we're diving into the world of one of the most intriguing and valuable coins in the United States, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, this seemingly modest penny might appear to be just another piece of history. However, if you take a closer look, you may find that this little cent holds a lot more value than meets the eye. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, which was in circulation from 1909 to 1958, is a beloved coin among collectors, and the 1952 version is no exception. But what makes this specific penny from 1952 stand out? Why has it garnered so much attention and earned a spot in the heart of numismatics? Stick with us, and you'll uncover why the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny could very well be worth more than you think. Let's take a trip back in time. The year is 1952. Dwight D. Eisenhower is President of the United States, and the nation is recovering from the Second World War. The economy is shifting, the Cold War is intensifying, and new technological advancements are changing the way people live. In the midst of this transformation, one thing remains constant: everyday people are still using pennies, just like they always have. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at 3 U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin's reverse features 2 stalks of wheat, which represent the country's strong agricultural roots, surrounding the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. At first glance, the 1952 penny may appear to be an ordinary coin. But there's much more to this penny than meets the eye. What truly sets the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny apart is its rarity, especially in mint state condition. The 1952 pennies, like most coins of the time, were struck in large numbers, flooding the market and making it difficult for collectors to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most of these pennies were used in everyday transactions, suffering from the inevitable wear and tear. However, as the years have passed, these pennies have become harder and harder to come by in excellent condition. The coins that have survived in near-perfect or uncirculated condition have become highly sought after, driving up their value, but that's not the only thing that makes this coin special. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny is also a perfect example of how certain variations and minting errors can dramatically increase a coin's value. Errors happen during the minting process, and when they do, they create something truly unique. These errors can include double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes, details that make certain 1952 pennies more valuable than their counterparts. Imagine finding a 1952 penny with a double die on the date, or even a coin with a rare off-center strike. These types of coins are prized by collectors because they are not only rare, but they also tell a story of an error that wasn't supposed to happen. Such mistakes were unintentional, but that's what makes them so valuable today. Now, you might be wondering how much a 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny is worth. Well, for the average 1952 penny in circulated condition, the value is pretty modest, perhaps a few cents to a couple of dollars. However, as we get into higher grades of preservation, the value begins to climb. If you have a 1952 penny that's in mint state condition, meaning it shows minimal to no wear and retains much of its original luster, you could be looking at a value of $50 or more. But here's where things get exciting. If your 1952 penny has a rare minting error or is in exceptional uncirculated condition, its value could be even higher. Coins with significant errors or unique features can fetch thousands of dollars, depending on the rarity and demand from collectors. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the big reveal. If you have a 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny that is in exceptional condition or possesses a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $85,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $85,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin worth just 1 cent when it was first minted could be worth so much today. So, the next time you find a 1952 penny in your collection or in your change, take a moment to examine it closely. Check for any signs of wear, any potential minting errors, or any features that might make it stand out. You could be holding a true treasure, just waiting to be discovered. Today, we're delving into a fascinating topic in the world of numismatics that might just surprise you, a coin that many people might dismiss as ordinary, but in fact, it holds hidden value. I'm talking about the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, a 1960 Lincoln penny might seem like just another cent. After all, the Lincoln Wheat design was nearly coming to an end by then, with the iconic Lincoln Memorial design set to replace it just a couple of years later in 1959. But trust me, this small coin packs a bigger punch than its size would suggest. Stick around to find out exactly why the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny is worth so much more than face value, and how this seemingly average coin could be worth a small fortune. The year 1960 was an important one in American history. John F. Kennedy had just been elected president, and the country was in the midst of the Cold War. It was a year of political change, technological innovation, and cultural shifts. And during this time, the U.S. Mint was still producing the familiar Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that had been in circulation since 1909 and was one of the most beloved coins in American currency. But in 1960, the Mint was preparing for the transition to the new Lincoln Memorial design, making the 1960 penny one of the last to feature the iconic wheat stalks on its reverse. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image of Lincoln has been one of the most enduring designs in American coinage, representing the values of liberty and freedom. The date, 1960, appears to the right of Lincoln's profile, and beneath that, you'll find the mint mark, if applicable, indicating where the coin was minted, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the two stalks of wheat framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This design, which had been in use since 1909, reflects America's agricultural roots and pays homage to the country's hardworking farmers. It's simple but powerful, and it's a design that will forever be associated with American coinage. Now, what makes the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special, especially in the world of coin collecting? It all comes down to rarity and condition. As time has gone by, the number of 1960 Lincoln Wheat Pennies in excellent or mint condition has dwindled. Like most coins, many of these pennies were used in daily transactions and suffered from the wear and tear of time. However, a select few of these pennies have managed to survive in near-perfect condition, and it's these coins that have become incredibly valuable. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins that show little to no wear and retain their original luster are highly prized. A coin that has been well preserved, without any scratches, dents, or discoloration, is considered much more valuable than a coin that has seen years of circulation. For the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny, if you happen to have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a lot more than you might expect, but there's more to the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny's value than just its condition. Like many other coins, the 1960 penny was also subject to potential minting errors. Mistakes during the minting process can create one-of-a-kind coins that collectors go wild for. These errors can include double dies, off-center strikes, or even repunched mint marks. If you happen to come across a 1960 penny with one of these unique errors, you could have a truly rare and valuable coin on your hands. One of the most notable errors for the 1960 penny is the 1960 double die, which affects the date and inscriptions on the coin. If you've got one of these rare error coins, you could be holding a piece of numismatic history, as these coins are highly sought after by collectors and can command prices far higher than regular, well-preserved examples. In fact, the 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny in perfect condition or with a significant minting error has the potential to be worth a substantial amount of money. While the average 1960 penny in circulated condition might only fetch a few cents, the real value comes with the pristine examples or those with unique errors. Now, here's the big reveal: if you're lucky enough to have a 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny in uncirculated condition, or even one that carries a minting error, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. $95,000. For a single penny. It's amazing to think that something that was originally worth just 1 cent could now be worth so much. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's all about rarity, condition, and history. And if you have a 1960 Lincoln Wheat Penny in exceptional condition, or if it has a rare minting error, you could be holding a truly priceless piece of American history. So, the next time you find yourself flipping through old pennies, take a moment to examine the date, the mint mark, and the condition of each coin. Who knows? You could be sitting on a treasure that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Today's video will definitely get your attention. We're talking about one of the most sought-after and intriguing coins in the world of numismatics, the 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This penny might seem like a simple piece of history, but if you know where to look, you could uncover a small fortune. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny is so valuable and why it could be worth $98,000. Yes, you read that correctly. Stay tuned to find out how. To understand what makes the 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special, let's first take a step back in time. The year is 1963, and the United States is in the midst of a decade full of political and social change. John F. Kennedy is in office, the civil rights movement is gaining momentum, and the country is transitioning through a period of significant growth. The economy is shifting, and so are the designs on American coins. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, in circulation since 1909, was about to be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, which debuted in 1959. However, the 1963 penny still bears the classic, wheat ears, reverse design, a tribute to America's agricultural roots. This is what sets it apart from many other pennies produced during this era. For many collectors, this design evokes a sense of nostalgia, a look back at a simpler time in American history. And let me tell you, this design is not just a piece of the past, it's one that holds incredible value today. On the obverse of the 1963 penny, you'll find the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's portrait is one of the most iconic and enduring symbols in U.S. coinage. The date, 1963, appears next to his profile, with the mint mark below it. Whether it's a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco, the mint mark plays a crucial role in determining the rarity of the coin. You see, some mint marks are much rarer than others, and they can significantly affect the coin's value. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll notice the two stalks of wheat framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This design, which was used for over 5 decades, represents the hard-working American farmers who helped build the nation's economy. The wheat stalks are not just a beautiful piece of art, they carry with them a sense of historical significance, reflecting an era of American agriculture that was so important to the country's growth. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny so valuable? Well, as with all collectible coins, the key to its value lies in its condition and rarity. Most 1963 pennies were mass-produced, and as you can imagine, many of them were used in daily transactions. Over time, most of these pennies became worn, scratched, or damaged. However, some of them survived the test of time in pristine, uncirculated condition. These well-preserved examples are much harder to come by today, and they command a much higher price than their circulated counterparts, but the true treasure lies in those rare, mint-condition 1963 pennies that have an unusual or distinctive feature. One of the main factors that can boost a coin's value is the presence of a minting error. Whether it's a doubled die, a misaligned die, or an off-center strike, these kinds of errors can turn an ordinary penny into something extraordinarily valuable. Minting errors create one-of-a-kind pieces, and collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for a coin with such a unique characteristic. For instance, a 1963 penny with a doubled die, where the date or the inscriptions appear more than once, can be worth significantly more than a regular penny. These kinds of coins are highly sought after by collectors who value the rarity and history of the mistake. Imagine finding one of these error coins in your collection or in a batch of change. It could be a game changer for any numismatist, but that's not all. The 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny's value also depends on its overall grade and the condition in which it's been kept. If you have a 1963 penny that's been kept in pristine condition, free from any scratches, discoloration, or other forms of damage, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than the few cents it originally commanded. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, just how much is a 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth? If you're lucky enough to have one of these coins in excellent condition, especially if it has a rare minting error or is in uncirculated state, its value can skyrocket. While a typical circulated 1963 penny might only be worth a couple of cents, those special, high-quality examples can be worth $98,000. Yes, you heard that right, $98,000 for a single 1963 Lincoln Wheat Penny. It's incredible to think that a penny, which once bought you a piece of candy or a loaf of bread, can now hold such a staggering value. But that's the magic of coin collecting. Coins that were once commonplace can become extremely rare and valuable with time. So, the next time you find yourself going through a jar of loose change or flipping through your coin collection, take a closer look at your 1963 Lincoln Wheat Pennies. You could very well be holding a treasure that's worth thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the United States 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1980, with a mint mark. You might think, wait, weren't wheat pennies discontinued long before 1980? That's a great question, and one that leads to a fascinating mystery. Because there's something special, something very rare about a specific version of this penny, and if you're lucky enough to have it, you could be sitting on a coin worth a small fortune. Before we jump into the details, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because we're about to uncover secrets that most collectors don't even know. And trust me, you don't want to miss what we reveal at the end. Let's start with a bit of a history lesson. The original Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. For 50 years, the reverse side of the coin featured two stalks of wheat, simple, symbolic, and instantly recognizable. That design remained until 1958, when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design starting in 1959. So now you might be wondering, how does a wheat penny from 1980 exist? The truth is, these coins weren't supposed to happen. But sometimes, in the minting process, strange things occur. Mint employees working during die changes or transitional years have occasionally struck coins using old dies by mistake, or as many collectors suspect, on purpose. That's how we end up with oddities like a 1980 dated wheat penny, with a visible mint mark, and a reverse that simply shouldn't be there. Now let's talk about the coin itself. Most 1980 Lincoln cents you'll come across will feature the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse and a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But if you happen to spot one with the wheat reverse instead, you're looking at something truly rare. And if there's a mint mark, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, that adds another layer of uniqueness. These mint marks help identify where the coin was produced, and when combined with a design that shouldn't exist in that year, they become incredibly valuable. But what makes this coin so special isn't just the accidental design or its scarcity. It's the buzz in the collector community. Coins like these blur the line between error and mystery. Were they test strikes? Were they intentional? Or simply rogue accidents from deep inside the US Mint? No one knows for sure, but that uncertainty only adds to the coin's mystique and desirability. Let's talk condition for a moment. Like all rare coins, value depends heavily on quality. A circulated coin with scratches, wear, or damage won't command as high a price. But if your coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used in daily transactions, and still has its original luster, it could be a serious gold mine. Even more so if it's been graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade 1980 wheat reverse penny with a mint mark could attract attention from elite collectors across the world. Now here's where things get even more exciting. Some of these coins, when they surface at auction, stir up bidding wars. And there's one verified example of this extraordinary coin, the 1980 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a visible mint mark, struck with an outdated reverse, that stunned collectors and made headlines, because that coin, in pristine, uncirculated condition, was sold for an eye-popping $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, a tiny copper coin, sold for what many people make in a year. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill of hunting for hidden treasures. And it's why you should never overlook that old jar of pennies you have sitting in your closet or the ones you get back in change at the store. So, if you're holding a 1980 Lincoln penny, check it carefully. Look at the reverse. Do you see the Lincoln Memorial, or do you see the wheat stalks? Examine it for mint marks. Look closely at the details, because that 1-cent piece in your hand just might be something truly extraordinary. Thanks for joining us on this amazing coin discovery. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible coin stories and money-making finds. We'll see you next time, and until then, happy collecting.